It goes without saying, Ultra Instinct is incredibly powerful. If you're watching my channel or this video, I'm going to assume you're already very familiar with it. I don't really need to do a deep dive and explain how great this form and technique is. But with great power comes great training. This isn't something people can access really easily. I mean, look at the Gods of Destruction. Even with their millions and millions of years of combined experience, even they have trouble performing this. But that doesn't mean it's impossible for other people to obtain this form. When you really look at it, Ultra Instinct can be obtained by anyone who's dedicated and strong enough, as well as someone who has the right resources and mindset. And there's a really weird misconception that this is limited to Saiyans. So if you think it's limited to just Saiyans for some reason because of Goku, I mean, you could just look at the Angels, or the Gods of Destruction that are trying to do it. This technique is not limited to them, so that means it could be used by pretty much anyone. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Also, before we begin, comment below if you want to see a scenario about this, like with someone else besides Goku or Vegeta getting Ultra Instinct. If there's any interesting ideas down there, I'll be sure to look into it. And the reason I say that is because today, we're going to be looking at who could potentially be the greatest Ultra Instinct user. And giving Ultra Instinct to pretty much anyone will make them a lot stronger. That's plainly obvious, but we're not here to do that. We want to look in depth, trying to figure out who the best potential candidate for this transformation is. But in order to do that, we're going to need to look at a few things. First of all, we need to look at who has the resources to obtain it. Second, we need to see who would even be able to master it. Just because you have the resources doesn't mean you'll be able to master it right away. Third, we want to see who would make the best use of it. Fourth, we want to see how unique abilities interact with it, whether it be someone's physiology, unique techniques they use, or anything else. And as a quick disclaimer, obviously we're going to be excluding Angels and anyone above them. The Angels already have it, and it would be pretty obvious to say that Zeno with Ultra Instinct would be the most deadly combination. We're also excluding Gods of Destruction too, and we're mainly going to be looking at Moros. So first, let's briefly look over Goku. Goku's actually a really great candidate to use this. I mean, he obviously does have it already. But let's treat this like a job application. Look at Goku's resume. He's one of the most skilled fighters in the entire universe, actually the entire multiverse. He's a prodigy who could pick up on techniques really quickly. He loves fighting and he's wholly dedicated to it. And as a plus, he's a Saiyan. They have a natural ability to grow stronger really quickly. Not to mention, he has the ability to use Ultra Instinct with other forms that he has, such as Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, and whatever else. Of course, a bunch of other different races have different transformations. But in terms of our knowledge right now, obviously we see that Saiyans have the most. And yeah, he's a really good candidate for it. Although there's probably people that are better suited to use it. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to have Vegeta come to mind. Disregarding the fact that Vegeta doesn't even really want to use it for himself, let's discuss this hypothetically. This whole video is a discussion after all, so all this is going to be purely hypothetical. I don't expect any of this to happen, and we're just trying to have fun here. So what would it be like if Vegeta had this? Well, it's pretty similar to Goku. Everything I said about him pretty much applies to Vegeta. And in terms of strength, he'd be in a similar level. Although, Goku definitely does seem to be a better martial artist, which seems very suited for Ultra Instinct. Not to say Vegeta's not great at it, just that Goku's better in this sense. But Vegeta might be able to do some unique things with it. I mean, consider his abilities now. He has access to Kai and other God of Destruction powers, thanks to Ultra Ego. And even though Ultra Ego is his own thing, in a hypothetical scenario where Vegeta actually did have Ultra Instinct, there's nothing that says he can't combine the two together. That would actually place him above Goku, if he did master this. As we've seen in the Granola arc, Goku's able to use the properties of Ultra Instinct in certain forms, cycling through his Super Saiyan forms while also using this. If Vegeta combined Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego, well, I don't really need to tell you how deadly of a combination that would be. Although I highly doubt it's possible. The two are completely opposite and they probably wouldn't work that well together. But again, this is purely hypothetical. In the craziest scenario, this could happen. Although realistically, if Vegeta did have Ultra Instinct, he'd only be using that alone. And there'd be nothing too special about it. Another interesting candidate is Moro. Now, we actually did see him use this. Of course, he obtained it through an unnatural way. And he couldn't even contain the power of it. But considering Moro's unique abilities and how strong he is, it's not entirely impossible for him to actually utilize this, whether he obtains it naturally or unnaturally, both of which could have happened. See, this would be pretty interesting, because Moro has the potential to fight very differently from many of the other fighters that we've seen in the series. Now, obviously he used a lot of basic ki attacks, but he has access to huge stores of magic. Besides the fact that he can steal people's energy and eat it, he has so many other magical abilities that he could utilize while in Ultra Instinct. Now, there's also Majin Buu, but I don't think he would have the dedication to actually access Ultra Instinct, at least how he is now. Maybe if the Grand Supreme Kai took over him again, sure. But in terms of a magic user using Ultra Instinct, the best bet would probably be Moro himself. I mean, with the way Dragon Ball Super's going though, who knows, maybe we'll see Oob use it. Once he's older at least. But that's way far down the line, so we'll ignore him for now. But in a similar light, we have someone from the next generation as well. A lot of people have been wondering what would happen if Gohan used it. Take what I said before from Goku and Vegeta. Now, Gohan obviously lives a very different lifestyle. But ever since the Tournament of Power, he started to balance his normal life and his fighting life more and more. And now he's stronger than he's ever been before and one of the strongest mortals in Universe 7 overall. As a hybrid Saiyan, he has immense potential. Combine that with the fact that he has a form that draws out all this great potential at once, allowing him to constantly grow and evolve with power. He does have the resources to access it, and he probably would be able to master it. The only big issue would be his dedication. Goku was incredibly dedicated to this, not to mention he's much older and much more experienced than Gohan. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, it just seems highly unlikely that this is something he'd ever pursue. And he probably wouldn't be the best candidate for it, as much as I hate to say it because he is one of my favorite characters. While we're still on the topic of Saiyans, let's cover a lot more that I'm sure is on a lot of people's minds. Broly. Similar to Gohan, he has insane reserves of potential. I don't really need to explain this either. You saw how fast he grew in the Broly movie. Besides the fact that he's just naturally strong, his growth is incredible. The great thing is we're going to be seeing more of him soon. Well, hopefully. At the very least, he would have a cameo in Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Wow, I hate how redundant that name is. And for all we know, he could be a big part of the movie. And we saw something really interesting in that trailer. He was training with Goku on Beerus' planet. Now this is important to note, because we obviously know he has the ability to get really strong, but this also shows he has the resources for it. Clearly he's on good terms with Goku, and it seems like they're going to be training together more and more. And he's going to be training on Beerus' planet, maybe even alongside Whis for all we know. He's definitely strong enough, and it seems he's getting more and more dedicated to training if this is something that's going to continue. Would he be able to master it though? Well, I'm not really too sure. The good thing is he can adapt really quickly, but he's lost out on so much experience. For a huge majority of his life, he didn't really get much great experience in terms of fighting. All he had was fighting some bugs on Vampa, and he was training with Paragus. His only real experience with fighting was against Goku, Vegeta, and Gogeta. Could he get Ultra Instinct? Probably, yeah. It would be a long shot, but I could see this being possible. And he'd be a really good candidate to use it. A big issue with Broly is that he goes berserk when he uses his power. But Ultra Instinct is a calm form. That probably wouldn't even be an issue with him. And besides the fact that he has the great potential of a Saiyan, he has some ungodly potential beyond that, with some of the fastest growth we've ever seen from anyone in the entire series. Give him Ultra Instinct and he could be unstoppable. Even though we're done covering Saiyans for the most part, there's still a lot of other great fighters with huge potential. Another one that comes to mind is Hit. Now, I think Hit would actually be a really great candidate. Let's go through our requirements. For one, he has the resources to obtain it. If he needs godly training, Champa and Vados have contacted him multiple different times before, and Champa's clearly taken a liking to him. So, he has the resources. Could he master it? Yeah, Hit's a great fighter. And much like a lot of the people we've discussed so far, Hit can grow insanely quickly. Besides his adaptability, pure progress allows him to grow in pretty much any sense that he wants. Would he make a good use of it? Oh yeah, definitely. Well, if he's using it for assassinations, it's not really the greatest purpose, but he definitely would be able to use it really effectively. In terms of abilities, Hit has some of the most broken abilities in the series. As long as he could train them more and more, imagine combining Time Skip with Ultra Instinct, as well as the other ways that Hit can control time. And this is on top of all the other techniques that Hit has as an assassin. Sure, Time Skip has been overcome before, but Hit can also develop it really quickly as we've seen. Even with his raw power right now, and Time Skip alone, as well as his other time controlling abilities, he's already a really fearsome fighter. Add his potential into that and give him Ultra Instinct, and you'd have one of the biggest threats in the entire multiverse. And even though the fighters that I've discussed so far are experienced, Hit's experience outclasses most of them. He's over 1,000 years old and he specializes in killing people. I don't think I really need to explain how experienced he is in comparison to people like Broly or Gohan. There's another surprising pick that I didn't really consider at first, that being Granola. Power obviously isn't an issue for him. At the time of recording, he's the second strongest person in the universe behind Gas. Although by the time this video comes out, there might be another chapter or two, so I don't know. Just a disclaimer that there might be outdated information here in terms of Granola. But still, his power is immense, and in terms of abilities, he has a really great ability as well. Sure, Time Skip is great and all, but look at Granola's accomplishments. He fought Goku, who did have Ultra Instinct, and with his Cerulean abilities, specifically the way he could snipe and locate vital points, he was able to actually put up a fight against that. Offensively, he's one of the best fighters we've seen in the series because of this ability. Granted, he was already great before his wish too. For some reason, people thought he only became strong after the wish, but it's been shown multiple times that Granola has been a prodigy. He was strong and talented beforehand anyways. The wish only helped heighten his abilities, using his own latent potential actually. Take one of the best offensive movesets in the series, and combine that with Ultra Instinct, and I don't really need to explain how great that would be. Precise and instinctive dodging combined with precise and instinctive offensive abilities, on top of the great power he already has and the power that Ultra Instinct would grant him. The only issue is he doesn't really have the resources to obtain it. As of now, it's not like he could train with an angel. And he's only got a few more years left to live. That probably wouldn't be enough to get Ultra Instinct, much less master it. Unless that wish is reversed somehow, which it probably will be, let's be honest, his main restraint is time and resources. Speaking of Granola, let's talk about one of the people he hates most, Frieza. Now, Frieza's an interesting case. Much like Broly or Gohan, we've seen that he can grow really quickly. Given the fact that he's a mutant and that his race is naturally strong, Ultra Instinct doesn't seem like it's impossible for him. But there's a couple issues that come along with it. In terms of him being a great candidate for Ultra Instinct, he doesn't have many great abilities beyond his potential, at least anything unique. In terms of the resources that he needs to obtain it, I mean, he's Frieza. He's sneaky and could probably find a way to get it. Steal the Super Dragon Balls, find some other way to do it, etc. And yeah, maybe he could get it, and he'd definitely make great use of it. Knowing Frieza, he would not only use this to oppress the entire universe, but maybe even the multiverse as a whole. But what's the point of that great potential if he's not going to use it? Sure, Frieza gets stronger and stronger with each fight that he's in, but he doesn't really seem to like training, and given how intense the training for Ultra Instinct is, this probably isn't something he would do. Like I said, he could find a sneaky way to get it. Like if he got the Super Dragon Balls to access it, or any set of Dragon Balls really, maybe he could figure out a way to do it. But in terms of getting it naturally, that's never going to happen. It's not like he even have a great place to train anyways, or even the knowledge of martial arts and abilities that would actually help him with that. And there is one more person I want to cover. I said I was done with Saiyans for the most part. There is one more person that would probably be the most overpowered individual ever if he had this form. Look back to the qualities that I've listed so far. A Saiyan body is definitely very helpful. It's even better if you have insane potential. Unique abilities, whether they're ass pulls or not, they would really definitely make an Ultra Instinct user very fearsome. And we need someone with the resources to actually access this. Someone with the dedication and drive, a motivation for this. Someone with a knowledge of martial arts that probably has access to godly powers too. Combine all that together and you have the perfect candidate, Goku Black. I mean, for one, this should be pretty obvious. He's in Goku's body. Goku has obtained Ultra Instinct, so it's not impossible for him to get it in this body, especially with someone like Zamasu controlling it, a Kai that might even have limited knowledge about this. And I know I'm mostly talking about mortals in this video, and technically Goku Black is a god, but also you can technically consider Goku and Vegeta gods, so hey, let's call it fair game. It's fun to talk about him. But beyond that, he definitely does have the resources. I actually made a video talking about how broken he is. It was actually edited by Trent too, thank you for editing this video, and you can check out that video here, I'll link it above. I recommend watching it, but in the shortest terms, yeah, he's got some really insane potential. So, he has the resources to obtain it. He probably would be able to master it. He definitely would be able to make a good use of it. So, what about abilities? Well, like I said, ass pull or not, any ability that you can combine with Ultra Instinct will be very deadly. And Goku Black has a ton at his disposal. He could do anything that Zamasu or Goku could do. He has a time ring which might not be of much use, but it's still there. He has knowledge of gods and godly powers. And he has some of the most insane BS abilities we've seen in the series. Even he doesn't know what he's doing sometimes. Like, imagine we give this dude Ultra Instinct, and as he gets angrier and angrier, he grows stronger and stronger. And then eventually, just out of nowhere, he creates a bunch of new clones like he did before. An army of Goku Blacks, using Ultra Instinct, getting continuously stronger and stronger. Again, BS abilities, but still, some of the deadliest in the series. And this is just scratching the surface of what we know about him. Combine that with the fact that he has access to Saiyan forms, especially his own unique ones. Just like I mentioned with Goku, he could probably apply the properties of Ultra Instinct to these forms too. Obviously there's Super Saiyan Rose, but even beyond that, let's get crazy, look at what Heroes has. All these evolutions of Rose beyond that, combine it with Super Saiyan, and yeah, that's probably a contender for one of the most overpowered characters in Dragon Ball at that point, without even acknowledging any growth beyond that. Of course, there are probably plenty of good candidates for this form. Maybe there's people we haven't seen yet. Realistically, you could say people like Toppo or Jiren, any strong fighters from any other universe. We can go on all day about who would be the best Ultra Instinct user, assuming they were given access to this form. In my eyes, out of the ones I've listed, I think they would all be great candidates. Goku Black would probably be the best due to his insane powers in general. But people like Hit, Granola, and even Broly can't be forgotten. They have the ability to access it if they had the resources, and their innate abilities combined with Ultra Instinct would be deadly. And of course, we do have the Gods of Destruction. Although, considering the fact that it's been millions of years and they still don't have access to it, who knows if they're even going to get it anytime soon. I mean, even Beerus, who seemed to be the closest to it, even he's still having trouble. But who knows what we'll see in the future. At the very least, we know we'll see Goku continuing to use this form. He's only just started to tap into it and he's at the lower level of it. The more we see him use it, the more we'll see him grow and get stronger with it. Maybe doing some insane things with the form that we haven't seen yet. But for now, it's at least fun to have these hypotheticals. And now I want to ask you guys, of the people I listed, or even the people off the top of your head, who do you think would be the best person to have this? I don't care if it's canon or not, fusion or not, whatever. Obviously I could say people like Vegeta or Gogeta, but it goes without saying that that would be broken. So let me know what you think. Who of any character do you think would be the best candidate to have Ultra Instinct? It is a discussion video after all, so let's start a discussion. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. It lets me know you want to see more videos like this and it really helps out the channel. If you haven't already, why not subscribe? As well as hitting the bell icon so you're notified about any future uploads on my channel, including more videos like this one. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.